This YouTube video was produced with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Specifically, the visuals were generated using ChatGPT, the script was composed using Claude AI, and the narration was synthesized using Edge-TTS. Profound. Definition: very great, intense, or deeply felt. Also, showing significant insight, knowledge, or understanding that goes beyond the surface. Collocation: profound impact, profound effect, profound understanding, profound change, profound respect. Synonym: deep, intense, significant, far-reaching. Example: the introduction of artificial intelligence has had a profound impact on virtually every sector of the global economy. Her profound understanding of human psychology made her one of the most respected therapists in the country. Living abroad for several years brought about a profound change in his perspective on cultural identity. Obstruct. Definition: to block or hinder the movement, progress, or success of something or someone, often deliberately and unfairly. Collocation: obstruct justice, obstruct progress, obstruct the view, obstruct traffic, deliberately obstruct. Synonym: block, hinder, impede, hamper. Example: the senator was accused of attempting to obstruct the investigation by withholding crucial documents from the committee. Bureaucratic delays continue to obstruct progress on infrastructure projects that the public desperately needs. Tall buildings constructed without proper planning can obstruct the view and reduce property values throughout the neighborhood. Forthright. Definition: direct, honest, and open in expressing opinions or addressing issues, without hesitation or evasion. Collocation: forthright answer, forthright criticism, refreshingly forthright, forthright manner, forthright about. Synonym: candid, frank, straightforward, blunt. Example: the journalist appreciated the minister's refreshingly forthright answers during what could have been a defensive interview. Her forthright criticism of the proposal initially upset some colleagues, but ultimately led to significant improvements. Being forthright about your limitations is often more impressive to employers than pretending to know everything. Dissonance. Definition: a lack of harmony or agreement between things that should fit together, an uncomfortable inconsistency between beliefs, ideas, or sounds. Collocation: cognitive dissonance, create dissonance, cultural dissonance, dissonance between, resolve the dissonance. Synonym: disagreement, conflict, inconsistency, discord. Example: cognitive dissonance occurs when a person holds two contradictory beliefs and struggles to reconcile them mentally. There was a notable dissonance between the company's public commitment to sustainability and its actual environmental practices. Moving to a new country often creates a sense of cultural dissonance that takes time and patience to resolve. Prevalent. Definition: widespread, common, or frequently occurring in a particular area, group, or period of time. Collocation: widely prevalent, prevalent among, increasingly prevalent, prevalent attitude, prevalent disease. Synonym: widespread, common, pervasive, dominant. Example: mobile payment systems have become increasingly prevalent in urban areas across many parts of Asia in recent years. The belief that hard work alone guarantees success remains prevalent despite considerable evidence to the contrary. Certain respiratory conditions are particularly prevalent among populations living in heavily polluted cities. Cynicism. Definition: an attitude of distrust toward the sincerity or motives of others, often based on the belief that people are primarily driven by self-interest. Collocation: public cynicism, growing cynicism, cynicism about, cynicism toward, deep cynicism. Synonym: skepticism, distrust, pessimism, suspicion. Example: years of unfulfilled political promises have contributed to growing public cynicism about the entire democratic process. A healthy degree of skepticism is useful, but unchecked cynicism can prevent meaningful collaboration and personal growth. Her cynicism toward corporate marketing campaigns developed after she worked in advertising for nearly a decade. Tangible. Definition: clear, definite and capable of being perceived or measured, existing in a real and concrete form rather than as an abstract idea. Collocation, tangible benefits, tangible results, tangible evidence, tangible improvement, tangible assets. Synonym, concrete, real, substantial, measurable. Example, investors expect to see tangible results within the first year before committing additional capital to the project. The training program produced tangible improvements in employee productivity and overall job satisfaction. Without tangible evidence to support the allegations, the case was eventually dismissed by the prosecutor. Incentivize. Definition: to motivate or encourage someone to take a particular action by offering rewards, benefits, or other forms of positive reinforcement. Collocation: incentivize employees, incentivize behavior, incentivize investment, financially incentivize, incentivize innovation. Synonym: motivate, encourage, reward, stimulate. Example, the government introduced tax breaks to incentivize companies to invest in renewable energy technologies. Effective leaders know how to incentivize employees without relying solely on financial rewards or bonuses. The program is specifically designed to incentivize innovation by recognizing and supporting promising young entrepreneurs. Polarize. Definition: to divide people, opinions, or groups sharply into two opposing sides, often making compromise or middle ground positions difficult. Collocation: polarize public opinion, deeply polarize, polarize the nation, polarize voters, polarize the debate. Synonym: divide, split, separate, fragment. Example, the proposed immigration reform has polarized public opinion more sharply than any other recent policy debate. Coverage of the trial polarized the nation, with each side accusing the media of bias against their position. Issues related to taxation tend to polarize voters along predictable economic and ideological lines. Advocate. Definition: verb, to publicly support or recommend a particular policy, cause, or course of action. Noun, a person who actively supports or argues for something. Collocate, advocate for, strongly advocate, advocate change, lifelong advocate, advocate reform. Synonym: support, champion, promote, endorse. Example, many economists advocate raising the minimum wage as a practical step toward reducing income inequality. She has been a lifelong advocate for animal welfare and has founded several successful nonprofit organizations. The committee strongly advocates implementing stricter safety regulations across all manufacturing facilities nationwide. Concede. Definition: to reluctantly admit that something is true or valid. Also, to give up a right, privilege, or position, often after a struggle. Collocation: concede defeat, concede the point, reluctantly concede, concede ground, concede that. Synonym: admit, acknowledge, yield, grant. Example, even his harshest critics were forced to concede that the new policy had produced impressive results within just 6 months. The candidate gracefully conceded defeat and pledged to support the winner during the upcoming transition. She refused to concede ground on the principle of equal pay, even when faced with significant pressure from the board. Compulsory. Definition: required by rules, laws, or regulations, not optional and must be done. Collocation: compulsory education, compulsory training, compulsory subject, compulsory insurance, compulsory measure. Synonym: mandatory, obligatory, required, enforced. Example, cybersecurity awareness training has become compulsory for all employees handling sensitive customer information at the bank. In some countries, voting in national elections is compulsory and citizens may face fines for failing to participate. Compulsory insurance for vehicle owners is one of the most basic requirements for legally driving on public roads. Trajectory. Definition: the path that something follows through space or time, the general direction or course of development of a process, career, or situation. Collocation: career trajectory, upward trajectory, current trajectory, change the trajectory, growth trajectory. Synonym: path, course, direction, progression. Example: her career trajectory has been remarkable, moving from intern to vice president in less than a decade. If the economy continues on its current trajectory, analysts predict steady growth for the next several quarters. A single mentor at the right moment can completely change the trajectory of a young professional's career. Paradox. Definition: a statement or situation that appears self-contradictory or impossible at first, but may contain a deeper truth upon closer examination. Collocation: apparent paradox, central paradox, paradox of, present a paradox, resolve a paradox. Synonym: contradiction, inconsistency, irony, puzzle. Example: the central paradox of the information age is that having more data does not always lead to better decision-making. It seems like a paradox that working fewer hours can sometimes result in higher overall productivity. Philosophers have long been fascinated by the paradox of free will in a universe governed by physical laws. Robust. Definition: strong, healthy, and able to withstand difficulty or adverse conditions, well-built and effective in performance or design. Collocation: robust system, robust economy, robust growth, robust defense, robust health. Synonym: strong, sturdy, resilient, vigorous. Example: the country's economy remained surprisingly robust despite the challenging global financial conditions of the past year. Building a robust cybersecurity system requires ongoing investment in both technology and employee training. Her robust defense of the proposal eventually convinced even the most skeptical members of the committee. Arbitrary. Definition: based on personal whim, random choice, or impulse rather than on reason, system, or established principles. Collocation: arbitrary decision, seem arbitrary, arbitrary distinction, arbitrary number, arbitrary choice. Synonym: random, subjective, unreasonable, unjustified. Example: employees complained that the new performance criteria seemed arbitrary and inconsistent across different departments. Setting an arbitrary number as a goal without analyzing market conditions rarely leads to sustainable business success. The judge ruled that the company's dress code contained arbitrary distinctions that were not job-related. Deteriorate. Definition: to progressively become worse in quality, value, or condition over a period of time. Collocation: rapidly deteriorate, deteriorate further, conditions deteriorate, relations deteriorate, deteriorate steadily. Synonym: decline, worsen, degrade, weaken. Example: working conditions in the factory began to deteriorate rapidly after the new management took over operations. Diplomatic relations between the two nations have continued to deteriorate despite repeated attempts at mediation. Without proper maintenance, even the most modern infrastructure will inevitably deteriorate over time. Repercussion. Definition: an indirect, often negative consequence of an action or event, especially one that emerges later and affects multiple areas. Collocation: serious repercussions, far-reaching repercussions, financial repercussions, repercussions of, suffer repercussions. Synonym: consequence, aftermath, fallout, ramification. Example: the leak of confidential client data had serious financial repercussions that the firm continues to deal with today. Decisions made during periods of crisis often have repercussions that extend far beyond their original intended scope. Few people anticipated the far-reaching repercussions that the new trade tariffs would have on small importers. Impartial. Definition: treating all sides equally and fairly, without showing favoritism, bias, or prejudice in any direction. Collocation: impartial judge, impartial advice, remain impartial, impartial inquiry, impartial assessment. Synonym: unbiased, neutral, objective, fair. Example: citizens deserve an impartial inquiry into the allegations of misconduct against senior government officials. As a referee, she has built a strong reputation for remaining impartial under even the most pressured circumstances. Seeking impartial financial advice from a qualified professional is essential before making major investment decisions. Stigmatize. Definition: to unfairly label, judge, or treat someone or something as shameful, undesirable, or socially unacceptable. Collocation: stigmatize people, stigmatize a group, unfairly stigmatize, stigmatize the condition, stigmatize behavior. Synonym: label, shame, brand, condemn. Example: public health campaigns must be carefully designed so they do not unintentionally stigmatize the very communities they aim to help. Society has historically stigmatized those who openly discuss their mental health challenges, making recovery much harder. Refugees often find themselves stigmatized by the media in ways that obscure their individual stories and contributions.